Hi, my name's Sarah. A very warm welcome to Life, Loss and Hope. Please continue to like, to subscribe and to share. Recently, when meeting with people for bereavement support, I asked them what was on their mind, and the universal reply was Christmas. And then when I asked them how they were feeling about it, they truthfully and yet reluctantly seemed to say that they were dreading Christmas, as if it were a terrible, shameful way to feel. They also said it made them feel inadequate, a failure and a misery, because they couldn't measure up to the expectations of family, friends and society. It was so good for them to be able to voice their authentic emotions and thoughts in a safe space. I really encourage people in grief and loss to find someone to talk to, whether it's a friend or a professional, as it can be a lifeline for you to be fully seen, fully heard, not criticised, or be cheered up or be fixed, and not to have your pain minimised. You may relate to this sense of dreading Christmas and feeling inadequate, guilty, or like the Christmas Grinch, but it can be a very normal way to feel, whether it's the first year, the subsequent year, or any other year thereafter. It does not make you a misery or a bad or a terrible person. You are someone who is grieving the loss of a special person in your life, or maybe even multiple loved ones. It seems to me that Christmas is one of the biggest containers of memories of childhood, family and friends, and so it has a unique way of kaleidoscoping all loss into one big bundle at this time of year, as we can be missing so many people. Going back to those words, I'm dreading Christmas, it can be a natural way to feel and doesn't mean that you aren't thankful for what you do have and that there won't be parts of the season that you may enjoy. After all, the word dreading means anticipating an event with apprehension or fear, being worried or afraid about something that is going to happen. So in fact, using this word is accurately describing the fact that you're not looking forward to the pain that it may bring or how you're going to cope with other people's expectations. And also you're not relishing the effort of masking your true feelings as you try to hold yourself together. That takes a lot of physical and mental energy that you feel that perhaps you don't even have. The pressure at Christmas to be joyous and merry means that we often feel that we have to put on a brave face, and there is often no room for our grief. This can lead to feelings of intense loneliness and isolation, even if we have friends and family around us. These emotions can be especially hard at Christmas, when there seems to be a perpetual sense of collective joy and celebration all around, making it very hard to grieve during the season of public happiness and with so many expectations to have that merry time. If your loved one has died and you are missing them intensely, it is totally understandable that you cannot connect with this joyous season as you did when your loved one was present. You probably loved Christmas together, so you are acutely aware that their absence is everywhere and in everything. Their absence is loud, and your longing and your ache to see them again and the pain of missing them seems to be magnified. To those around us, it shouldn't be any surprise that for many, Christmas will be a difficult time of year and sadly becomes something to be endured, got through, rather than fully enjoyed. The Christmas season can feel very different from grieving a private anniversary or birthday at another time of year, which is more focused on a specific day or dates. Although that's still very painful, the emotional upheaval tends to span less time. However, missing a loved one at Christmas can feel overwhelming due to the prolonged exposure to Christmas that begins even in early November. This means our emotions are heightened for such a long time as we're exposed to TV adverts, festive lights, decorations, cheerful family scenes in the media, Christmas songs on the radios and in the shops, all bringing memories flooding back. Bereaved people often also say to me that they would like to forget or ignore Christmas. Realistically, it's tricky as there is no escape from the celebration that goes on for weeks. There's no opt-out for those who are struggling with the loss of a loved one and feeling the pain and the missing and the yearning. However, what you can do is you can make personal decisions to opt out of some of the usual traditions if they feel too difficult for you. That's completely understandable, and it is really okay if you don't want to put up a Christmas tree, decorations, or even send cards this year. It's very important that you do only what you feel that you can do. So have a good think and even write down what you feel you can manage this year and what you can't, without feeling guilty or that you're letting family or friends down. And plan ahead of time, being really honest with yourself first, and then tell those closest to you what you can and cannot cope with. You can tell them it's too painful for you. If you just feel like having no Christmas traditions or eating curry on the day itself, you are not being a misery. You are grieving and wisely protecting yourself by setting boundaries that make you feel safe. Next year may be different, but for now it's how you feel and it's valid. Often people say it's difficult to broach this with family, but if you do communicate honestly with those who care for you, together you can plan ahead of time a pared down day. You may also need to get over a barrier of feeling like you are being selfish or indulgent and your desire to please others around you. You are not being any of these things. You are just protecting your wounded heart and being realistic. After all, it's very exhausting to suppress your sadness and fake it through social events, which can leave you even more depleted emotionally and physically. And remember that saying no to other people is saying yes to yourself and your needs. If you're struggling this Christmas time, please know that you're not alone. As devastating as it is, there are people who do understand, and there are things that you can try that will hopefully make the season more bearable. All of us experience bereavement in different ways, and we need to find out what helps us best. What I've found is that lots of people really agonize about writing Christmas cards and how to sign off the card. I mean, after all, what do you write? It's such a stark reminder, signing just one name, perhaps a single name at the bottom of a card when for years you've been part of a couple. It can feel so empty. So here's a great suggestion from a bereaved man who had also deliberated on this. And this is what he did. He had his wife's photo printed on a small stamp-sized sticker, and when he signed his name, he put the sticker of his wife's picture beside it, acknowledging her life and their love, and saying that her presence lives on in the absence of her name. For some, old traditions bring comfort and a sense of pleasure during times of grief, while for others, these may be too painful. So have a family discussion about what traditions or activities you'd like to keep or change that can make this year easier for everyone. And maybe this year you can create a new tradition in memory of your loved one. Some people light a candle, make a toast to them, share a special memory or a photograph, or leave an empty chair for them at the table. Or you could go around the table and say a few words or tell a story, a special story about them. Often people are too scared to upset each other over Christmas and consequently don't want to mention the absent loved one. It can, for those that are grieving, feel like your loved one is airbrushed out of your life by other people around you because they're too scared to bring up their name or share any memory. I asked someone recently if they were going to mention their missing wife at Christmas, And they said to me, "Oh, probably best not to talk about her." No, I said to them, the truth is it would be hurtful and insensitive to pretend that she hadn't existed and wasn't still very central to all of your hearts and lives. And the truth is that actually others often want to share those memories with friends and family, but they don't communicate it. People aren't mind readers, and unless you say what's on your mind, often people, even those closest to you, are wary of bringing up the name of your loved one or saying anything about them. It doesn't mean that they don't care or remember, but often they just don't know what to do or say. So in families at Christmas time, often both parties are thinking the same thing. I wish I could talk about Mom or Dad, but no one wants to say it for the fear of spoiling the day. I really encourage people to acknowledge and find ways to remember that loved one's life at Christmas. And even if it brings tears and sadness or being vulnerable, it does build intimacy and stronger connections with those that are closest to you. And after all, who is better to share these precious memories than those who also loved them? So their names being present in our conversations does integrate our shared love and their continuing presence in life going forward. It is important to keep honouring your loved one with past rituals, new routines, and creating small dedications to them can be comforting and a way to celebrate their life and keep their memory close this Christmas. Maybe you could consider putting up a tree if you wanted to, in honour and celebration of them, and in recognition of how you have taken steps to cope. Even if they are small ones, make it a tree full of memories to celebrate their life, the one who you loved so much. If you feel up to it, you could also reach out to volunteer or even help others, as this has the added benefit of making you feel purposeful and useful, as well as offering a powerful distraction. It also sometimes gives some perspective to how you are feeling. Remember that your grief will start to change, and don't feel pressurized into making this Christmas a great one. There will be others. Some people may find it is easier to avoid the festive season altogether by travelling abroad, and if you're able to afford it and you'd like to do that, that's a great opportunity. But please be aware that it may leave you without your traditional support network. This Christmas, don't be afraid to ask for direct support from people by saying and telling them honestly, I'm finding Christmas more difficult. I need some extra support from you. You may arrange times when you can meet up and talk with someone who understands and is comfortable for you to be able to share your emotions. People that care for you will love to help. And as I said before in the gift of receiving video, you will give them a gift as you ask them for help, the gift of receiving. Practically, there's a few things that you may want to consider. You may want to limit your alcohol intake. Try to avoid drinking too much alcohol to numb your emotions, as it is likely to make things worse. Alcohol can exaggerate some feelings and make you feel angry, tearful, or depressed. And if you're working, you may want to identify a private place in the office or in an unused room where you can retreat for a brief period if you feel overwhelmed. Please look after yourself. If the festive period gets too much, make sure you can take some time out for yourself. And if you do go to Christmas socials, give yourself an exit strategy by limiting your time there, by outlining what you're comfortable with. You could say, I'll just pop in for an hour, or I'll just stay for a drink and not the meal, so that if you begin to feel upset and need to leave, you can do so easily. It doesn't mean that you can't, in fact, stay longer if you feel strong enough and it's going well. Being kind to yourself at Christmas is important. Take extra care of yourself and try not to overcommit by saying yes to situations where you feel obliged to be cheerful. Try to find a healthy balance that works for you by not isolating yourself for the whole time and having time alone also with your feelings and memories. Watch the boundaries and self-care videos again. Take good care of yourself with small actions of treats. Have a bath, take a walk in nature, which can be very grounding and restorative. Read a book or listen to music. Some form of exercise helps the body to release tension and flood the body with feel-good hormones. Finally, if you choose not to participate fully at Christmas, please don't feel bad, selfish or guilty. You are being true to your own needs. People that love you will understand, and it's okay if you don't feel ready to do all that is traditionally expected of you. And if you do choose to participate at Christmas, don't feel guilty either if you smile, laugh or enjoy yourself. Treasure any moments of unexpected joy and happiness that you can experience, and think about how your loved one would have wanted you to carry on with your life. Even in our broken world and heartbreak, our Christmas season is full of love, hope and light. And if you can't feel it or see it, I will hold these for you until you're strong enough to feel them again. Whatever I've been through and whatever I'm feeling, for me, Christmas always inspires a new sense of love, faith and hope. The symbols and stories surrounding the birth of Jesus seem to whisper in my ear, don't give up, keep going. The darkest night is often just before dawn. Jesus was born just when the night was darkest, and he came to overcome the darkness and enter our history, lighting the way to peace, love and hope. So Christmas teaches me again that even in the grip of death, grief and loss, that I can trust in that everlasting light, to rest in his love and await the joyful reunion with my loved ones in heaven. As you remember those you missed this Christmas, light a candle and lean into the light of love, faith and hope, and know that the greatest of these is love.